Welcome to another episode of The Author's Mind. My name is Jenny, and with me in the studio is a phenomenal woman, writer, psychologist. Her name is Nalubega Sylvia. Please tell us who you are.
Thank you so much, Jenny. Yeah, like you said, my name is Sylvia Nalovega. I'm a creative writer. I'm also a performing dancer. I'm a content creator too.
Okay.
So I'm also a Christian. I'm a born again. I follow Christ, and that is the center of my life.
Oh, that is
Yes.
so beautiful. So, thank you so much for honoring our invite to come on this show. We believe you've been writing many books, but we got interested in one titled Remember Me. I don't know if you've seen it anywhere, but this book is phenomenal. I had a good read at it and I could not stop reading it. So today, I think you're going to tell us a little bit about the book and your intentions for writing it, what you really, are looking to give the world when you are writing this amazing book.
Yes, remember me. I'll begin off by saying the thing that inspires me to write is Psalms 45:1. I'm going to say it in the Good News version. It says, "Beautiful words fill my heart as I compose this song for the King,
Okay.
like the pen of a ready writer. My tongue is ready with a poem." I can say that is my mission in life, to write words that bring healing, that bring restoration to people. And I believe God has given me that gift to be able to write words that bring impact to the society, positive impact.
Yeah.
So remember me. All of us have those places that we go through and you feel forsaken by God.
Yeah, true. We do.
And there's so many times you read in the Bible where it says people cried out to God, remember me in my distress, deliver me. So this book is birthed out of the story which is in Luke, that is Luke, I think, chapter 8,
Yeah.
about the woman with the issue of blood. And also the crucifixion story of Christ, about the two thieves at the cross. So it follows a story of a young woman who goes through the situation, of course, of the issue of blood for 12 years. She's bleeding. She has tried everything. And we must also understand the context in those days.
Yes, of course.
It's not as it was, it's not as it is today. So because when you even read the law books in Leviticus, in Deuteronomy, bleeding was not something that you can actually talk about in public. You're not
Yeah.
supposed to be in public. So it had different dynamics to it. So we explore the context. What did it mean for this woman to bleed? What did it mean for her to go and meet the Lord, And then we also explore the story of the thief at the cross. What is the connection between the thieves at the cross and that woman? And we see that the center of it all is Christ, who changes the lives of these amazing people. And so we throw a bit of context around it, the cultural context, the political context, the social context. We bring the characters to life,
Yeah.
and to hopefully make them relatable to a person who is reading. I hope that when someone is reading, they're able to relate with a thing or two about the characters, and then they're able to know that it's never too late, that their life can become better, like these were. So it's a book that is exploring that, and I must say that it's a Bible fiction.
Yes. Oh,
So
wow.
it's a Bible fiction. It throws I create the backstory
Yes.
around it, of course, having consulted the historical, the contextual, reading the Bible too much, reading the Old Testament,
Yeah.
reading the New Testament, reading so many things around diet, around entertainment. What did it mean to be entertained during that time?
Yes, of course.
Around agriculture, because it was the way of life of the people in the Bible times.
Yes.
So really exploring all those and then seeing where do these characters fit in.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I've just found out it's a fictional Bible book. When you read the story, you'd actually think that it is what happened, but it's just not included in the Bible. It was so realistic. I could relate with almost every character in the book. Book was really, it was really intriguing. I read the book, I think, for an hour or two, but I could not stop. Usually, I would have like breaks, and I'm like, okay, maybe let me hold on, rest a bit, go back. But I wanted to know the ending because every character had something it was bringing out. Every character had something I could bring out. So, in all that, which character really resonated? Like when you were writing this book, which character brought out the light for you when you were, writing this book? What character did you want us to single out of all those characters that you wrote in this book?
Well, I would think that I want people to relate with the different characters in the book, because everyone has their story.
Yes,
in
of
this
course.
book. Everyone has their unique story that I believe different people can relate with. But I also must say that the person, the thief at the cross, who met the Lord right there before his death, is something that leaves you to wonder that it's only the Lord is only a prayer away.
Wow.
And it's never too late, even when it feels too late.
Yeah.
But everyone is amazing in the book, so I would think that every character has a light to bring to the audience.
Yeah.
The woman with the issue of blood, if you're not a woman, you may not be able to understand that.
Yeah, of course.
And if you've not gone through the issue of bleeding, you'll not be able to understand that. This is where I also share my personal story.
Okay.
I had a health issue of bleeding. Yes. For since 2017, no, 2016, I got that issue to myself.
I'm so sorry about
Yeah.
that.
I got that issue to myself, and it was from fibroids. So you could bleed and bleed and bleed. So it is something that I felt I could say compelled that story,
Yeah.
because I could read the issue of the woman of blood, the woman with the bleeding issue, and I'm like, I get what you're going through. So sometimes when you share with the people that this is what you're going through, of course they could always relate the story to you. But this is a very personal story for me, because you first of all, there is a way it impacts you mentally, emotionally, physically. You may not even be able to do. I was not able to do some work that I wanted to do, because you cut out physical activities during that time. You're bleeding for like 2 weeks, and it's expensive. Of course, you have to use a lot of material. It takes a toll on you as a person, as a woman. And I wanted women who are going through that to also read that story and be able to relate.
Yeah.
And know that there is help. For some women, it's miraculous help. The Lord can heal you miraculously.
Yeah.
For some of us, it's through the doctors. I went for an operation and I'm now fine. And it was so when I was writing that story, I put myself in the shoes of Tama, because I could actually relate with what she was going through. Of course, it wasn't 12 years for me, but even then it felt like 12 years. So it's something this story speaks to. It also speaks to the present day woman who is going through that situation, that you're not alone. Sometimes it brings shame, and you feel like, who will be able to understand me going through this? Where can I get help? But like Tema, that story in the woman, or the woman moved out and said, you know what, I'm going to go and touch his garment. Actually, I believe during that time, The men used to wear clothes, and there were tassels on their
Garments.
on their garments.
Yes.
So the tassels simply they symbolize the word of God. So I believe she probably touched the tassels, which was the word of God,
Yeah.
and the Lord healed her. And so you might find that as a woman, probably you just need to go out, and you need to go out and share with a friend,
Yes.
share with a doctor, share with someone about the issue that you're going through. You don't have to suffer in silence.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, I'm so touched by your story. I know when I was also reading the book, I was like, many women I know can relate to this, because most women are suffering with such an issue personally. They're not feeling confident enough to talk about it. But the fact that you wrote about it in your book, they can relate to that woman and believe that there's some hope coming for them out
Yes.
there. So, in case you have such an issue, please tell us in the comments how your story went. In case you got healed, tell us. We want to hear from you. We would love to hear your side of the story, how it went, if you got any form of shaming for it, and how you came out of it. Never know, your story could inspire someone out there. Thank you so much for adding that part into the book, because most people are not comfortable talking about their personal self
Yes.
and putting them in a character, moreover. But the fact that you brought it out like that, and you connected it to the thieves, it just brought the story all together. It was really interesting.
Yes, and then I also must say that as I was writing this book, I didn't want to present perfect characters.
Yes.
If you read the book, the only perfect character there is Yeshua, our Lord.
True, true.
Everyone had their things, you know. Everyone had their things, but the Lord did not chase anyone away.
Yeah.
In fact, he didn't ask the woman, now you've touched me. You know what our law says. You're not supposed to touch me.
Yeah, of
But
course.
he applauded her faith and said, daughter, your faith has made you well. Go in peace and be healed of your affliction.
Yes.
So the Lord gave her more than physical healing.
Too much.
He
It was
gave her
everything.
healing, soul, mental, emotional, physical, everything.
Yeah.
The Lord met her at a point of need.
Yeah.
So I really want to bring that out.
That was so beautiful. So I could not help when I was writing this book wondering, what challenges did you face when you were writing this book? Was it an easy one? Because remember, it's also it has a biblical story. Wouldn't critics come out and say, you're just copywriting from the Bible and bringing it into a book? What challenges did you face when writing this book?
So I anticipated the challenge of not understanding the context because yes, I've never lived during that time.
Yeah, of course.
And so I had to understand the historical context of the characters of the Bible.
Yeah.
What was it like then during the time of Christ? What was it like before? How would people fit into that? So I had to read a lot. I read the books of the law a lot, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy. I had to read and make sure that I get things right. I had to read about the diet of people in the Bible. What did they used to eat?
Yeah.
I had to read about, like I shared, the harvests, the celebrations, what caused people to celebrate. I had to read about relationships.
Yeah.
Yes. I had to read about relationships. What was it like to relate between a man and a woman in the Bible? What was marriage like? How did they build their houses? Because I had to describe that in the book. How did they build their houses? What materials did they use? What was it like? So I had to read and go there. If you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I went in those situations. I lived there.
Yeah.
And as an author, you write what you see.
Of course.
That's why when someone reads your book, they actually see the characters. They go there. They go there in the story with you. They're able to picture the Tamar. They're able to picture Christ. They're able to picture the thief at the cross. How does this Paul look like? So I can say it's a challenge. It was a challenge and also learning, because you have to be a character. You have to be each and every one of those characters as a writer.
Yeah.
You have to embody them. You have to carry their conversations. You have to carry their thoughts. You have to carry their emotions. So you're writing about this character, and then you step out and be another character, and then you step out and be another character. In that way, you're able to bring authenticity to the characters that you write. Of course, at the time that I wrote the book and I continue to write, I'm working. I do so many other things. Like I said, I do dance, I do training dance. I work with several organizations where I do different work, project work. I create content. So, and then I have to write, and it has to fit within all that. So at that time I was writing, I was doing a course, actually 2 courses at that time, and I was doing a lot of work too. So I had to write in the night.
I was even about to ask you, how are you doing all these things and then having time to write? Because writing requires a lot of time and creativity, and you need to really be in the book to make people get you. But this is interesting.
Yes, so I had to create that time. I had to write in the night. And even now I do write during day, during night. So I had to create that time. I had to make sure that, and of course, you can't write without having that time that is really secluded for that. And then of course there comes the resources. Writing is expensive. I had to think about I'm writing, but the book has to be out. It has to be designed. It has to be published. I have to make copies. I have to get the ISBN. I have to market it. So I have to think about all that and invest in it. But like I'll share, I was able to get something very good out of the book.
That is so nice. But it's really a good book. Please, if you have not read this book, go and get this book. It is something that you're not going to see every day. It is something that is extraordinary. Yes, it has a piece of the Bible in it, but it's from an angle that you don't really see every day. And I think it can minister to you or make you see life a different way, and let you see that there is actually hope at the end of the tunnel. So how did you find out, like, with all this reading, because as writers, you have a lot of reading before you also write. What research did you get in all this? Extra research did you get and understand about, the Jewish people live like this, so if they live like, it means, it was like this. So what is that extra information that you didn't add in the book, but you got to understand during your research for this book?
Like I shared, I got to know more about like their celebrations, especially because sometimes when you read the prophets in the Bible, like, okay, Lamentations, crying, Babylon, captivity, sometimes, but the Bible setting had a lot of celebrations, like celebrations during harvests. Those are some of the themes that I bring out in the Bible. Like in Remember Me, the Passover. The Passover is a celebration, but not like dancing celebration that much. Because it's more to do with remembering being delivered from captivity. But there are celebrations of the harvest. People really used to celebrate. Then there are also celebrations about the feast, is it of the tabernacles, of 7 days. These were ordered by the Lord himself for the people to celebrate, because celebration is important to the Lord. He's in his presence there is fullness of joy. So, and then of course I also read about so much how it was like to be in the issue of bleeding. Yes. That you are not allowed to come out in public. You're not supposed to, you're just supposed to be alone. And sometimes even your family could let you go. Could let you go and maybe find another place for you. So much of what happens, actually, sometimes these things are still happening in our community.
Yes, they are.
Like especially when you read this story, you'll be able to appreciate. I'll go back to the issues of reproductive health that actually, especially women, go through. The issues around bleeding, the issues around I'm currently doing a project on fistula prevention and treatment,
Yeah.
and also talking to those women how they are living life. Oh, that's another story altogether. So it's so there's so many things around that I was able to learn and appreciate, and most importantly appreciate the grace of God, the grace of Christ, that even through all that, He's able to receive you the way you are.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
is. I understood that from Perez. At the end, he's going like, please remember me wherever you go. Like,
Yes.
yes, you'll be
Yes.
with me in heaven. I was like, wow, that was so, it forced me. I think I prayed after reading this book.
Wow.
I was so moved by it. I started reflecting on my own life, and I'm like, this man has lived his life a thief. Like, every time he's stealing, and at the end, God forgives him. Who am I for him not to forgive me? You get?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And when you also look at the story of Perez, it also brings out the dynamic of fathers,
Yeah.
the role of fathers in especially the lives of the boys.
Yes.
That sometimes men turn out to be they are because there is no father figure.
And the importance of having both your parents to
Absolutely.
raise you up into the child you should become.
Yes.
I also saw that really in the book, because most people, especially in the generation we're living in, most times we're having like single mothers or single fathers. So the child grows up missing a piece of them, and they grow up wild sometimes. Sometimes they grow up well, but there's always a piece of them missing. So I like the fact that you brought the importance of a father figure in a boy's life, in a boy child's life. We're always singing about women, women, women. We forget the men, yet they are the heads of the home, they are the leaders. Most men don't know what to do. But the fact that you brought that up, it's a question mark for all of us out there. Are our children, the young boys, are they having a father figure if they don't have a father? Are they having someone they can look up to and say, I want to be like that man?
Mm-hmm.
It's very
Or can
important.
yes, or can you as a man, as a father, decide to father
Yes.
other young men?
Yes.
Yeah.
By the way, there are also present fathers who don't know how to father. So that's also another issue we are facing as a society. Yeah, but I like the way you brought it all up. But I also got intrigued in case this book, because I was like, it's so interesting. Imagine it's a movie or it turns into a film. What would be your dream cast?
Wow.
Let us say this book is turned into a film and every character has been brought to life fully in their physical form. What would be your dream cast?
Yeah, so this book can be visualized in two ways.
Yes.
It can be a theater play,
Yes.
drama, which can be played by anyone. It can be a drama, it can be a musical, depending on how we can bring it out in theater. When it comes to film, then it calls for the context of the actors. They really need to be from from Middle East, because that is where the book is set.
Yes.
So ideally it would be actors who are who are of that descent, and they are able to bring out the story.
And bring out the characters the way you intended.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yes.
Having Christ, having Tamar, who is the woman with the issue of blood, having Perez, who is a thief at the cross, and so many other characters who are in there. There are some Roman soldiers in there because it was during the crucifixion of Christ. So yeah, it will be interesting to see.
So what advice would you give a young writer? Someone maybe 18 years, 20, they want to start writing. They don't know where to begin. They don't know where to start. What advice would you give them?
Yeah, so I would start by saying that even when you're very young, like maybe you're still in ordinary level,
Yes.
I would advise you to offer literature.
Oh,
Yes, offer literature as a subject, because there is so much to learn in there.
Yes,
My
there
background in writing is based in literature, so yes, enroll for those subjects. They are very, very good. You'll find them very useful. And then I would advise the writer to start writing your thoughts. Get a book, or where, if you have a laptop, well, but I usually I prefer writing using my pen.
Yes, of course.
So write what you have in your heart, and do not be afraid to go there.
Yes.
And then what I also did, because in as a Bible fiction writer, I researched about Bible fiction writers. They are there. So one
Okay.
of them is called Francine Rivers. She's very remarkable. She has written, I think I read 2 books of hers. One was about, is it The Mark of a Lion? And another one was, I forget the name, but she's very remarkable.
Yes.
So she takes you to those stories. One of them is about, actually 2 of them are based on the lives of the early Christians after Christ. Yeah. So you're able to understand the context and you appreciate the early church then.
Yes.
But it's through the characters who are sharing their story. So get where you are best. Are you good at academic writing? Are you good at creative writing? What are you good at? Even in creative writing, what is your angle?
Yes.
And then look out for writers in that angle and read their books, because I can say that is like one of the best ways to get you moving. And then understand the context. Like, for example, in Uganda, it's easy to be a self-publisher. I'm a self-publisher. I don't have a publishing house. That would be ideal.
Yes.
But to even have a publishing house, you must have begun from somewhere. So I'm a self-publisher, and self-publishing, if I can just take you through the steps, it's very simple. Have your work written, have it edited, go to the National Library and get an ISBN.
Okay.
It's about 35,000 or 40,000.
Okay.
Very cheap. You pay for it, and then you get, so an ISBN, if you look at the book behind, it's this. So this is the number that marks my book.
Yes.
It gives it that speciality.
Yes.
And then read a bit about the copyright law in Uganda, intellectual property rights.
Yes.
What does it mean for creatives? What are your rights? What are your obligations? So it's all something that is being developed under, I believe that is the URSB, Uganda Registration Services Bureau. So they are handling some of that part. So it's very good as a writer to be educated on the policies, on the social, on the economic aspects of writing, because writing must be able to bring you a lot of income. Like I was sharing, I call writing my mother's skill. It's what feeds me and what feeds so many people around me. Wow. Like I'm able to do creative writing, be able to sell my novels, and then I do project writing, and different sorts of writing that are able to bring in income.
I like how they've told the audience how you can commercialize writing, because most people believe writing is not a commercialized skill. Most people think I'm just going to write, and then after 10 years and I maybe start seeing some money. But as you've heard, she's a young writer and she's making good money out of writing. So if you have the passion for writing out there, don't waste this opportunity. Begin it now. Never know, you may see your $1 million in like 2 months.
Absolutely.
Never know. Yeah. Anything is possible.
Yes, and know your market. Yeah. Know your audience. When you're writing, I can honestly say, when I'm writing my books, my novels, I love to target the non-readers. Strange but true. Because if I get a person who doesn't read that much to read my novel, that makes me very happy. That shows that I am fostering a reading culture to largely people who don't like reading so much. Yeah. So if I can get a non-reader to read my work, which I have done, I've been able to evidence that in the work which I do, makes me very happy that I am actually contributing and getting more people to read, and getting more people to to get knowledge and information through reading. Yes.
Wow.
So know your audience. Who are you targeting with your writing? Yeah. And then be able to write from the perspective of your audience. So I know that can be tricky, because you're a writer, you're creative, you're supposed to do your work, but it's very good to understand, who am I writing for? And then tailor your writing in a language that they'll be able to understand, and then buy into your writing. And yes, we are able to contribute positively to our society.
I've always had this crazy idea that, you see how we have Gen Zs and we have our Gen Z language. as a Gen Z person, I've always imagined maybe if I wrote a book in our language, we would actually get it because that's my target audience. And what we're trying to say here is don't try to sound like Shakespeare or want to start from up there. Begin where you are at and then grow from there. So if you feel like you're comfortable with maybe the Gen Z English, write a book in that. Never know, it will sell because people are incorporating reading into their lives these days.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
And there is also the internet is amazing.
It
It
is.
creates it's you know it's up to you how to use it.
Yeah.
So there are so many places where you can start writing blogs. I also do blogs. I've done a number of blogs, but like I said, I like fiction, I like stories, So my blog is at sylvianalvega.wordpress.com.
Okay.
You'll find a number of my stories there. I'm currently doing a story on Dinah, the daughter of Jacob. That is
Wow.
somewhere in
Another
Genesis.
fiction. I'm
Yes.
excited.
Yes. So there is a lot of space for you to share your writing.
Yes,
What am
there
I
is.
trying to say is that your writing is not for you. You're writing for someone to get to know more about your work. So use the free spaces.
Yes.
There is LinkedIn. LinkedIn takes in a very big chunk of words.
Yes.
There is Facebook. Yes, you can use VPN in Uganda and get it. There is, of course, even places like Instagram or Twitter. You can always put a link to your work.
Yes.
You can have a free WordPress website. You can also have have a website
Yes.
and put your work there.
Yes.
Yeah, so there is space for you to share your work.
This is beautiful information. This is beautiful information. Sadly, we've come to the end of this very beautiful podcast. Thank you so much, Nalovega Sylvia, for joining us today. We really loved everything you told us. And people out there, wherever you are, young people, women, men, wherever you are, please, whatever it is you want to do, don't let this anything limit you. If it's writing, at least she has given us a method of how to begin, where to start. If you're a bit shy, start with a blog. From a blog, upgrade to start, writing like real short stories. Then you move to, novels. Then before you know it, you're a big writer. You don't know where you're going tomorrow. You don't know how tomorrow looks like. So thank you so much for joining us, for sparing the time to be with us here today. In case you have a comment for us, any information, any story you'd like to share with us, please comment below. We'd love to hear from you. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow us on all our social media platforms. And with all said, my name is Jenny, and this is The Author's Mind.